Let's take a look at the amazing new gear sets that you can get in the second episode of the Fate of Atlantis DLC and the 3 new enhanced abilities that you will be able to unlock. Would be awesome if you could leave a like on the video as it shows your support, and let's go. In the pinned comment you will find a link to my current giveaway for the upcoming Sacred Oracle pack and the unique mount. All you have to do is follow the link in the pinned comment for a chance to win, and be sure you are subscribed to the channel as well before you enter. There are 3 new enhanced abilities in the Fate of Atlantis episode 2 called Torment of Hades, and you once again have to find them by going to the Keeper's Insights on the map. And I will show you all the locations in a second. And also the new armor set that you can get in this episode is actually needed to get one of the abilities, and I will talk more about that a little later as well. Let's start with the new Vanish ability that is called Chronos Time Shift, that will launch you in the air and then the time will stop for 3 seconds. During this time you can shoot your bow, use hunter abilities, or do the powerful ground smash that you can of course do by using the heavy attack button while in mid-air. It is actually smart in this instance to first shoot some arrows and then land this smash ability, because otherwise you will immediately drop down while you can float in the air for some time first. The ability description notes that the things you do in the air after activating this ability will always be crits, but that is not always the case. For example, if you do the multi-shot ability, then only one of the arrows is a guaranteed yellow number. On my regular save, because of course the footage that you see here is recorded from a Ubisoft build, so I could play the DLC early. Anyway, on my regular save, I of course have this 100% crit chance build. I will link to that at the end of this video. So then you don't really need the guaranteed crits, but if you haven't reached 99 yet, so don't have the 100% crit chance yet, then it's of course nice that all the things you do in the air will indeed be a crit. I gotta say though, this ability is just mostly a ton of fun to use, because launching yourself in the sky never gets old, and you also get this glowing effect that kind of makes you feel like a god for a short period of time. So it's a nice way to kill the remaining enemies when you are low on health as well. So just a nice ability for the hunter or warrior players, while the regular Vanish is of course great for the assassin playstyle. You can get this enhanced ability over here on the map in the birth cave of Chronos, so go there to claim the Keeper's Insight and use this new ability. The Devastating Shot is one of my favorite abilities in Odyssey, as it deals a ton of damage, especially with a crit, and it also knocks back the enemies, so you can hit them more times before they can reach you. This new version is called Artemis' Trickery, and it's only about making sure that the enemies have a hard time reaching you, as it lets you put your arrows on the ground that will then detonate when the opponents come near, stunning them multiple times, so you can really plan a great escape or launch other arrows when the enemies are trying to recover. It also deals damage, although it's not really a lot. It is enhanced with your hunter damage though, and I was using a warrior set here, so maybe if you got your full hunter set, then the damage might actually be pretty nice. Although I don't think it will come close to your regular Devastating Shot that was all about single target damage. This new enhanced version though does hit multiple enemies if more enemies stand inside the circle when it detonates, and the effect that appears after detonating depends on the arrow that you put on the ground. The regular and paralyzing arrows will blast the enemies away. Death arrows seem to have a bigger effect, knocking some enemies further. And then we got the poison arrows that create this poison cloud that makes the enemies that stand too close take poison damage. And the fire arrow does basically the same but with fire. And if you throw down the explosive arrow, then you will see these explosives that will also stun the enemy. So it's a pretty cool ability to toy around with. Having a bow with poison or fire damage engraved on it will already help a lot here, or of course use the flaming attacks or venomous attack ability, so you don't have to switch to these specific arrows all the time and always have this fire or poison effect trigger. So yes, you will likely be using it after you just got it, but in the end I think that the regular ability is better, so you will likely switch back. You can find this version of the Devastating Shot over here on the map though, in the Den of Judgment. And the final enhanced ability is for one of the most used and powerful abilities in Odyssey, the Second Wind one, that is now called Ares' Last Breath. And I really like how they changed this one up, because it now has way more uses instead of being the ability that will just get your health back up. So what happens is that you will become immune to enemy attacks for 10 seconds, so basically cannot take any damage when this glowing effect is over your character. During this time you get 5% damage dealt restored as health, so your basic attacks and some of the abilities will give you health back when you do damage onto an enemy. And also when those enemies attack you, their melee hits will be automatically parried, so you cannot get interrupted in this mode by an attack from the enemy. And then you basically want to go on a rampage and get as much health back as possible during this time. And by the way, a funny thing that I think of just now is that you can of course also use this in combination with some of the parry perks that you can put on some of the weapons. So it might be fun to toy around with that, because you will automatically parry the incoming attacks. So that means that the effect from the perks that have you parry will automatically be triggered. Might be something to look into in the future. The 5% damage dealt restored as health is nice, but this ability is way better if you put some ability points in the damage dealt restored as health mastery level, so then you have 10% instead of 5. And this will really help you get a ton of health back, so use it when you're almost dead and when there's still enough enemies around you that can give you health back by hitting them. But this ability is actually also really nice to remain full health. If you got a lot of wow full health perks like the crit damage and crit chance, then it might be nice to just use this ability so you will remain full health and have this insane damage increase thanks to these full health perks. I don't have the 100% crit chance on this Ubisoft build again, so it will be awesome to use it on my regular save for sure. So yes, for the Hunter and Warrior playstyle, it might be nice to change to this Ares Last Breath ability when you are surrounded by multiple enemies and you're able to get a ton of health back by attacking them. But versus main bosses or other tough enemies that also deal a lot of damage, it might still be nice to use the regular Second Wind ability instead, so you just get back to full health rapidly and not have to rely on hitting the target. Good to know though is that this new version of the Second Wind ability also removes the burning and poison effects, so the Ares' Last Breath can also be used for that. You get this one in the Hall of Manii that you find over here on the map. To enter this one though, you need to have the full new legendary gear set that you can get in this second episode. It's called the Fallen set, and I really love the look of this one. With the massive horns, the overall Minotaur-like look, we see the same colors and style continue in the rest of the suit. I love the golden lines and some fur here and there. The bones also wiggle when you move. So yes, it's a cool addition to the game for sure, but it's just sad that this armor set is only nice for the look, or maybe when you're clearing the rifts in the second episode, because it gives you 10% max health while in these rifts on each gear piece. So in the second episode you have these rifts that let you kill these spirits that otherwise cannot take any damage but can still do you harm. So you have to enter these locations to then be able to see these enemies and then take them out to close the rift for good. So in the first rift you enter, you will see that you will only have 50% of your full health. But by wearing one piece of this armor set, you add more health to that, 10% per piece. Although you do of course lose the perks that you have on the gear piece that you now change up. Also, all the gear pieces have different base playstyle perks. And I think that this is the first time that we actually see this. So the helm has warrior damage, while the bracers have hunter damage, and you find assassin damage on the waist. So yes, this instantly makes it the worst legendary armor set in the game. It's just a way to give you more protection inside these rifts. Although you can also engrave a protects 50% max health while in the Teteros rifts, engraving on any gear piece though. So then you get the full health inside these rifts without having to wear any of the fallen items. So yes, that makes the fallen set instantly useless, but I think it only unlocks when you got the full set though, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Again, this armor set only has a purpose of letting you continue through this DLC. It namely also lets you pass through these Tartaros veils that block some doorways, including the one that you need to go through to get the new Ares' Last Breath ability. So yes, you have to get this new armor set first before you can get this final enhanced ability. You can actually already get this fallen set pretty early in the DLC by defeating the special fallen enemies. The first one will appear really early in the DLC on the map. You will see an icon, just go there and then kill this enemy, and then you will immediately see where you have to kill the other fallen enemy for the next legendary gear piece. I of course want to spoil as less as possible, so just a brief overview. Killing 4 of these fallen targets that will appear after each other will get you 4 item pieces, and then the final part is obtainable through a side quest called A New Lease on Death, that you can actually already start early as well. Follow that, then a new side quest will appear, and then you should get the bracers for this armor set and have the full armor set. So maybe smart to kind of do that as soon as possible. Subscribe for everything in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I will have way more videos on this new Atlantis DLC episode up, discussing all the weapons. There are a ton. And another special item as well. Then we also have E3 on June 10th, where we'll get some Odyssey announcements, so that should be fun. I will cover everything here. A like on this video would be super appreciated. Check out my fight against Cerberus during the first 5 minutes of this DLC. And for now, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.